Welcome to today's episode. Today I'm going to be joined by Tony, a product marketing manager in the Azure Migration team. Tony, welcome to today's shows.
Thanks, Dave. Good to be here.
So Tony, now that people know that you are a product marketing manager like myself, but we focus on Azure Migration, tell us, what are you doing outside of work?
Yeah, so Microsoft does take up a good chunk of my time, but I love to do a few other hobbies. So, Dave, like one of my favorite things to do is road biking. You and I like to ride all over Seattle, and we've done some pretty cool out of town rides too. So I've been into biking, ever since I was in high school. It's just been a real love of mine, and I especially just really like doing it here in the Northwest. It's just such a great place to do that. I have a family, so wife and two boys, 7 and 9 years old. And ever since our kids were little, we kind of got into RV camping. So we bought a camper, and we've been doing it now about 8 or 9 years, and we just really love just being outside and just getting to enjoy the Washington state parks. We kind of just do about maybe 4 or so trips every summer. Yeah, so that's pretty much me in a nutshell. Just in short, just really like being outside and enjoying the beautiful state that we call home, Washington, right?
Yeah, and it's actually, now that you say beautiful home, Washington, you're one of my rare friends that actually grew up in this area and really knows all about this state, which is awesome. Now,
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I come from Squim, which I've taken you to, and it's also a really fun part of the state to be checking out.
yeah, and a beautiful national park, the Olympic National Park. Very nice over there. Now, what motivates you to work for Microsoft? Why are you dealing? You mentioned it before, it's quite a big workload, usually a lot of stress level. But what motivates you to actually do all or deal with all that stress and challenges?
For me, it's really two things. It's the smart people that I get to work with, and then also the reputation we have with our customers, and then like the expectation they have of us to, deliver solutions for them. So, I mean, I've worked for, maybe about 4 different companies in my career, and I can honestly say, like Microsoft, I've met some of the smartest people I've ever worked with, and that just, makes me want to challenge myself and get better. So that's, one part I really love. The other part, like I said, is the customer aspect. I did spend the first about 3 or so years of my Microsoft career in technical sales, got to spend a lot of time with customers. And then when I came to marketing, I got to be here in Redmond and present in our executive briefing center. And it just really struck me that, customers have this esteem for Microsoft, and they have a lot of respect for the products we deliver, and they have a lot of expectation that things are going to be high quality and they're going to work and they're going to solve important problems for them. So that motivates me. It motivates me to try and solve those problems on their behalf.
Thanks for sharing that. And the EBC is definitely a passion I share with you. I love the opportunity to talk to senior people from companies all over the world that fly here to hear from Microsoft and talk to us about the challenges they're facing and they're trying to overcome with technology. Now, when you think back over the past 12 months, and I know at Microsoft it's unbelievable, sometimes a quarter seems like a year, given of everything that happens around here. But if you think about the whole 12 months, that will be all the way to last year, October, what was one of the funniest moments that when you think about it, still kind of like makes you laugh or smile about it?
It was actually just last week. We've been in some weird times now with COVID, and I just find that trying to keep things fun and interesting is a challenge. And honestly, like our management team has been doing a pretty good job of it. So, our boss, who's in charge of all of Azure marketing, had this team meeting where, the whole group was on the call, and she did this, uh, what's the show with Simon Cowell? You'll have to remind me again. I forget
I
now.
think what's it called, Azure Idol or American
Yeah,
Idol, I
it
think
was
is
kind of
originally.
an American Idol theme. Exactly. Sorry, that the name of the show escaped me. But she did this American Idol themed presentation where each of the managers talked about what their team did, and kind of in that theme. And there was some judging going on, and there were even some of the managers wearing costumes and just making it really funny. And it was honestly like the most fun team meeting I've been in, and I was paying attention the whole time. I think it's really important these days. Just you can get kind of caught up in this drudgery of being at home, uh, feeling down about not being able to go out or travel. So yeah, I mean that's kind of a simple example of how they're trying to make even working from home fun for us. So I appreciate that. I'm sure a lot of the other folks did.
It definitely was a funny call, I have to admit. Yeah, it was awesome. Now, in Microsoft, the whole thing of growth mindset is a huge cultural thing, a topic that we kind of like, yeah, how do we overcome challenges? Sometimes it can be personal versus work challenge as well, where we have a moment of growth for our career. If you think back, also similar time frame of 12 months, what would have been a growth moment for you?
I'll actually go back beyond 12 months. Um, when I first came to this job, I was with Microsoft for about 3 years. I was in the Bay Area of California, like I said, in technical sales. And then I really wanted to get back to home, Washington State. And so I found this job in Azure Marketing in Redmond. And, when you're in marketing and also at Corp here at Microsoft, you have a lot of opportunities to speak in public. So one of the examples would be one of our internal conferences is called Ready, and then one of our customer conferences is called Ignite. And you have lots of opportunities to go present at forums like that, and you might be up in front of hundreds of people. And that was something I'd never done before. I never presented in front of hundreds of people before this job. Um, and honestly, my first few times, they didn't go awesome, but I just kept at it and kept trying to improve. And it's something I still want to just keep working at. A lot of our events have been canceled this year, so it's not something I can do right now, but I want to get back to it. So I mean, that's the one biggest thing that I've valued coming out of this job that I'm in now, is just being able to become a better public speaker. And when you do that, it's just like, I feel like it increases your confidence a lot in a lot of other areas of your life too.
I can definitely say though, you're pretty good, man. Like I've seen some recordings from you even online,
Thanks.
and even how you wing this interview. I would give you definitely top grade. Now, when you're thinking forward for the next 12 months, and obviously you can't share confidential information about roadmaps or anything, but just for the next 12 months, what is something that excites you or you look forward to?
Yeah, so I'll come to what I work on in the Azure marketing team. So I work on a program called the Azure Migration Program. What it does is it helps customers migrate from their on-premise data center to Azure, and we do it by giving them things like connection to our engineers, funding partners to help them out, getting their staff trained up on Azure. So a bunch of basically helper mechanisms just to make that a lot smoother. It's been around about a year now. So I was involved when we first designed it and launched it. So, as you can imagine, when you've put something new out into the market, it has some growing up to do. You have to kind of see what's working, what's not, constantly be adjusting it. So the most exciting thing for me is just to keep, listening to what customers want about this program that we've created, responding to that need, and just honestly making it simpler and easier for them to migrate. And what gets me excited is honestly like when we see new customers graduating out of the program every month, when we see new customer logos kind of get added to our reference portfolio, like that's super exciting to me because it means, hey, I'm working on this program strategy, or I'm working on this thing that may seem kind of down in the weeds, but it does have a lot of effect. And the effect is in those things I talked about, actual customer success.
And I mean, like you said, it is super important thing, right? Like releasing features and other things in technology is one thing, but the enablement helping customers to take advantage of these new services or features, or even from what Azure can offer them through a migration is awesome. It's like super important. And you see the true enablement. I see often more the excitement around the new feature, but then you see it basically come to life where it actually helps the customers as they're migrating. Now,
That's
if
right.
someone is listening to this podcast and just like, this sounds kind of like fascinating, like being able to work on a program like you mentioned, the Azure Migration Program, maybe even as it gets started, build it and roll something like this out around the globe. What would be 3 tips you would give to anyone that is interested to work in product marketing at Microsoft?
Yeah, so I'll kind of tailor my response to someone who's maybe in college or just coming out of college, because I think these 3 things would serve anyone well who wants to start a career in technology. One of the first things is just get really interested in technology. When I was in high school, I was constantly tinkering around with our Mac computer, just trying to figure out how does this thing work, even to the point of building my own computer. So I mean, even just from a young age, I was interested in technology, and I still am interested. It's just a different thing. The technology being in the cloud rather than computers that you're playing around with on your desk. So just if you can be honest with yourself and actually have an interest in it, like that's the one thing, because then learning it is not going to be boring to you. You're going to want to learn it. Second thing is to get really good at writing. I would say that being able to express your thoughts, whether it's a presentation, um, kind of a strategy or position paper, whatever it is. Like if you can get good at that, that's going to set you apart from a lot of people, and it's super important. I mean, you have to be able to uh, communicate your ideas for sure. And then the last thing, which I think is going to set you apart from even more people, is being able to work with data. Um, there's a lot of data that's available to you when you work in a company like Microsoft, and being able to get at it and answer the question of the day, um, that's super important. It's going to basically set you up to be that person where people go to for answers. And, and also if you find enjoyment in doing that, then that's good too. So those 3 things: get interested in technology, get good at writing, get good at working with data.
That's very good tactical tips. Thanks for sharing those. Now, if you want to, feel free to connect to Tony on LinkedIn. I'm going to add his LinkedIn profile down in the description. If you have any follow up questions or, yeah, just want to connect with him, feel free to do so. I hope you found it interesting to yet get to meet another person that I have the honor to work with at Microsoft, the challenges, the excitement that he is experiencing, and his tips for finding or if you want to get started in the tech industry. So thanks for watching and have a good day.
Thanks.